So you always hear the question, like, why is there fighting still in hockey, but not in any other sport? Like, and I figured it out. I've cracked the code as to why there is fighting in hockey and no other sport. I'm Foxy Cellars. If you would, click the like, click subscribe. It helps out my channel. Okay. You know that hockey is the only sport where they stop right in the middle of the sport, just so two guys can beat the shit out of each other. And the refs, they move back. They give them space. They're like, well, let's see how this develops. Okay? You know, it's like a free throw where it's like two guys get to step up to the foul line, but they take shots at each other's faces. It's all part of the rules. It's totally cool. It's acceptable. It's been acceptable for over 100 years. In all other walks of life, that would be assault. It would be aggravated assault, 2 to 10, probably 5, upwards of $25,000 fine. And the refs, they're just totally cool with riding this out. They're like, let's see how this develops. Let's see, you know.
Number 19 for Minnesota has a max penalty for illegal check to the head, 5 minutes for fighting. Carolina, number 11, has 2 minutes for instigating, a 10-minute misconduct, and 5 minutes for fighting.
And you know what the penalty is for fighting? 5 minutes. You have to go and sit down for 5 minutes for brutally assaulting a coworker live in front of thousands of onlookers. And they put the guys literally right next to each other. Like, go sit down next to each other. Imagine fights in other sports, like any other sport, probably more obscure sports. Like, imagine watching like Wimbledon, like center court, Federer and Nadal. And they suddenly just, like, Nadal double faults and Federer just leaps over the net and starts wailing on him with a racket. Well, no racket. They got to use fists, I guess. No ejection, no security. Just the umpire is just like, all right, gentlemen, let's give them some space. You know, proper form and everything. No biting. And, play will resume in 90 seconds. Or in golf, like they can do it in golf. Like you're watching the Masters and Tiger sinks a birdie and Phil Mickelson's just like walks up and sucker punches him right in the throat. You know, because he didn't like the read on the green. What's the PGA penalty? 2-stroke deduction and 5-minute timeout in the sand trap. Please go over there and reflect on your actions. You know, next to the gopher. How about figure skating? Hair skaters, mid-routine. Guy misses the triple axel and the woman just pulls off her skate and Tanya Harding's his neck. Judges have deducted 0.5 for aggression, but bonus points for artistic violence. Or soccer, where like people fake an injury from the wind. Imagine an actual fist fight, like just breaks out between two Premier League players. Crowd would riot. The crowd fights in soccer, but not the soccer players. The ref would run in like, that's it. That's a yellow card. And I'm telling your mum. Can you imagine in fencing, like literal sword fighting, where they just adopted hockey fight rules? Like, so two fencers are just facing off, proper stance, dressed like elite cyber beekeepers, on guard. And one guy taps the other like a little too hard in the chest, and suddenly like swords drop, gloves come off, and they just start swinging bare-knuckled in the middle of the strip. The ref doesn't stop it. He steps back, hands behind his back like some sort of butler. Let him handle it like gentlemen. The crowd, who probably paid about $300 to silently watch a glorified toothpick duel, they suddenly start cheering like it's WrestleMania. Then there's some lady in a sun hat who screams, "Break his monocle!" The fight goes on for 30 seconds, one guy trying to uppercut the other through a mesh helmet, and eventually they tire out because fencing, doesn't have the cardio that street fighting cardio might have.
Hey, Watts, we got to work on our cardio this summer, huh?
So then the judge would blow the whistle. Enough, you get a penalty. Go sit on that elegant antique bench and reflect on your dishonor. And of course, they're seated side by side, panting, bruised. So you always hear the question, like, why is there fighting still in hockey, but not in any other sport? Like, and I figured it out. I've cracked the code as to why there is fighting in hockey and no other sport. And that's because hockey players all have ridiculous names. That's right. Radek Bonk played for the Ottawa Senators. That's the name he grew up with his entire life. Radek Bonk.
Just leveled. Radek Bonk. Play continues.
That dude had to deal with some shit, I promise you. That's not a name. That's the sound Batman makes when he punches the Riddler. Radek Bonk. That man grew up with a comic book sound effect as his last name. The LA Kings had a player forever called Ziggy Palffy. And that's another one right out of a comic strip. Ziggy Palffy. It sounds like a 1930s jazz drummer or a Muppet who plays the triangle. The Kings also had a player called Larry Playfair. That's the name your mom gives you when you're hoping you don't fight. Now, Larry, Playfair. But no, Larry had to throw his hands every other game just to prove that he wasn't a Sally. He was a Larry Playfair. They probably had to even, he was a fighter, so they probably had to put in his contract, look, I know it's Larry Playfair, but, you got to fight. And he had more than a couple of fights. He had a lot of fights. And then there was Harry Dick. First name Harry, last name Dick. Played for the Chicago Blackhawks. Google him. I dare you to Google Harry Dick, Chicago Blackhawks. He certainly was already throwing punches in kindergarten. Okay, and then you got Dit Clapper, Austin Bruins legend. Sounds like a guy you'd meet at the STD clinic.
But what we're certain of is you have AIDS. Yes, you have AIDS. Not HIV, but full-blown AIDS.
Can you imagine, getting VD from this guy and then having a conversation with your girlfriends? Got it from a guy named Dit Clapper. Who you fooling? That's a made-up name, you whore. Well, all names are made up, but that's his real name. No, I swear, his name was Dit. Amy the Clapper. Swear to God. And then you got yourself James Van Riemsdyk, spelled exactly the way it sounds. Expensive.
James Van Riemsdyk and Neil Pionk.
Van Riemsdyk. Curtis McElhaney played for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Don't even get me started about a hockey team named the Leafs. No one wants to be bested by a Leaf. You think they mulled around the idea of calling Pittsburgh the Pittsburgh Pumpkin Seeds or the Concord Pine Cones? The Syracuse Skin Tags? No. I don't know why they ever named their team that. Curtis McElhaney. I don't even know if it's pronounced Heine or Heaney. Either way, he's getting a wedgie.
Boy, what a terrific save there by McElhaney.
And then you just got some fun names like Anton Hudobin. He was a goalie, played for the Bruins and played for the Dallas Stars. I just love saying his name. Hudobin. You got Lindy Ruff. Lindy Ruff. Wasn't that a Care Bear? I'm Lindy Ruff. I fight for love. Then there's Grant Clitsome. I don't even need to write a joke there. I mean, that's the punchline. I don't know if he played defense or offense, but I know he scored. Clits a lot, actually. Darius Kasparaitis. That's a name that sounds like a prescription drug. Side effects may include blindside hits and hurt feelings. Darius Kasparaitis. Could even be the medical term for an albino. Dick Duff. If you're keeping track, yes, we're on our second dick. Hockey is full of dicks. Tyler Pitlick. Sounds like a product for itchy dogs. New from Purina, Pitlick. For when your pup just won't stop scratching. Rob Klinkhammer.
Klinkhammer went hard into the end boards against Toby Enstrom.
Literally sounds like a Nazi fighting Marvel superhero. Klinkhammer smashes injustice. You ever heard of Miroslav Satan? Spelled like Satan?
Could it be Satan?
Pronounced a little different, but played for the Islanders. But come on, he should have played for the New Jersey Devils. I think they missed a marketing opportunity there. They should have traded for him. And then to top it off, this is my all-time favorite name in all of hockey, Jeff Beukeboom. It's not a name, it's an explosion. It's not a name, it's an exclamation. I want to name my next child Beukeboom Cellars. This fall from Napa Valley, Beukeboom Cellars. It has subtle hints of puck and blood. So yeah, you got men with names like Bonk, Dick, Klitzum, Satan, Satan, whatever the hell you want to call them. You have to fight. You have to fight. You either throw fists or you die of embarrassment. So I figure as long as there's going to be ridiculous names in hockey, there's going to be fighting. Thank God for that. And I want to thank you for watching all the way to the end. I'm Foxy Cellars. If you would, click the like, click subscribe. It helps out my channel. Thanks.